Hey guys, okay. Where we last left off was on IED 2.1.3. We were building this model car here on Onshape, and we left off here with this car. And when you start working on 2.1.4, it's going to ask you to make a drawing, and a couple things that'll make life easier for you here when you go to make this are because there's a couple problems that I found out. People were like, hey, I can't get this to work. It's not working right. It doesn't look right. And I went back and I noticed it too. So the way you make a drawing, we've got our nice assembly here. Again, we've got our car, 4 wheels. Remember, we have the axles. We've got this this top part here. And what we're going to do now, and actually, I'll show you the top part. If I didn't get to show you the top, I'll show you real quick the two mates that put that top together. So the top is just right here. The two things that we use to put that together are a slider mate. So we pick a slider and we zoom in, we select that. Oops, it'd probably help if I zoom out a little bit. And then we select that. Okay, and that puts that peg in the hole, but we still have, it's not, if you notice here, it's not flush. So we're going to do a fasten mate here. And then that will let us select this face and then rotate and select that face. And that did not do what I wanted it to. Hold on here, let me try that again. Fasten mate. Select that. Select that face. Select that face. It's doing it again. Hold on here. I just had it. There we go. I had to get it where when I highlighted it, if you look at this mate here, when I highlighted it, notice how there in the circle, that little thing, when I first did it, see how that little thing there tells us that we can mate that? Well, I just undid it. There, now I can do it. Same thing here, and we're good. So that's how I did that part. Now, we go to make a drawing. Okay, wonderful, so we look at that as our thing. When I click front view up here, this has been part of the problem here, is when I click front view, the car is at this angle like it's doing a giant wheelie. And what will happen is when I go to make a drawing and I click the plus sign down here in the bottom left corner and I click on create drawing, and you want to select ANSI B inch, that'll be fine, hit OK. What will happen is my car will look like it's doing a wheelie in my drawing, which is not what I want. So I have the drawing here, and I'm going to select my assembly. Assembly 1, the default here is a front view. And what you notice is if I lay that in there, it's got my car doing a wheelie. And if I put in a top view, the top view looks weird because it's got the car at a wheelie, and it messes it all up. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to fix that here in the assembly before we start doing anything with the drawing. So we're just going to go ahead and delete that there, and we'll go back to our assembly. And the way we do this is you always want to build everything off this front view. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the body of the car, because we constrained everything to the body of the car. We constrained the wheels to it, we constrained the axles to it, we constrained the top to it. We're going to take the body of the car and we're going to rotate it so that it's oriented the way we want. Now, ideally, what we would do is when we first build this car, we would get the body oriented how we want, and then we'd use this tool right here where you right click and hit the word fix. And what it'll do is it will lock it in place so that it's always the way we want it. But most of us didn't do that because I didn't tell you to do that, and we don't know how to do that. So it's okay. We'll get this fixed. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to click on this, and when you click on it, let me get it actually in an angle. So when we click on the body, notice how there's this circle with these arrows coming out of it. What that does, those arrows are the directions, X, Y, and Z, and these little circles with lines on them on the end are ways that we can rotate the car. So if I click on one and start dragging it, notice that the car rotates. And don't worry about the axle coming out right now, it's not a big deal. So what I want to do is I'm going to use those to try to rotate the car to where I want it. In this case, all I have to do is rotate it down about right there. And that's got me about where I want it. Yeah, that looks good. When I click front view, it puts it there. I don't know why it's offset. But you may need to do some others. So you may need to use this one and rotate it up or back or whatever way you need to rotate it. But because you could just click it here and you could rotate, up or down if you need to. And you can even type in and get real specific with the degrees that you want. But once you get it the way you want it, then we're going to find the front view, click front, and then we're going to click on that, and now we're going to do our fix. And it'll fix it exactly where we want it. Now, I've got it all set up now. I've got it where I want it. Now I can go and start doing the stuff that I want to do with this. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is over here on the right, you see these three little things that we've pretty much left alone the whole time. BOM table, that's bill of materials. And we call that, and I've already updated these, but here in Onshape, it's called a bill of materials. In Inventor, it's called a parts list. What you're going to do is you're going to type in here, you see like item number 1. That's your car body. That was the first part you made. There's one of them. And you can type in a description here, car body, to tell what it is. Item number 2, that was the second thing I made, which was the wheels. There's 4 of them. You can put wheels. Item number 3 was the axles. So we can put axles. And item number 4 was the top of car. So we can just put the top of car. And we're going to leave those descriptions there. And while you're probably not going to forget the parts here in this little thing, when you get into bigger builds where you've got 10 or more parts, it's nice to have that bill of materials. You can quickly click over here, and when you see the different parts over here, you can see what they are. It's also going to help us with our drawing, as you'll see here in just a second. The other thing we're going to do is we are going to make an exploded view. And what an exploded view is we're going to take the different parts and we're going to explode them out so that you can see all of them and see how they fit together. Now, unless there's a way to do it that I still haven't figured out, which there's a very good chance of, I don't like exploded views on Onshape very much. They're not nearly as good as the exploded views on Inventor, but they'll have to do because that's what we've got. So what you do is you click over here, you have bill of materials, configuration panel, and exploded views. And with exploded views, you can hit add exploded view. And they're just calling it explode 1. And what you're going to do with explode 1, you're going to click on each part individually, and then you're going to use those arrows to drag it away from the rest of it. And then hit the check mark. And I'm going to click on the wheel. And I'm going to drag it away. Hit the check mark. And I'm going to click on this wheel. I'm going to drag it away. Check mark. Now I'm going to do the axle. Oops, not too far. Drag it away. Check mark. That axle. That wheel. So what I wanted. And now, the reason this is handy, then we can hit done here. The reason this is handy is if I say explode 1, I could look at it here and I could see how all these different parts, fit together, how they all come when they all fit together. So I've done that, and I can hit done when I'm done with it. And it'll take it back to a normal looking vehicle here. I can go back to my front view. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to finally make my drawing. Now that I've got everything the way I want it, I'm going to make my drawing. So I'm going to hit create drawing here. Again, my ANSI B inch is what I want for the template that I'm using. You may have to search a little bit to find it, but that's what you usually want. Again, I have slow internet here, so it's taking just a little bit longer. So with the drawing, assemblies, I'm going to choose my car again. And you'll notice now my car is in the correct orientation. So my front view goes there, my top view goes there, and then I have to click over here, insert again, and if I want a side view, I click on right, and I can put it right there. Okay, and I've got my car all inserted there. Computer's thinking about it for a second. Now, what I'm going to do, I can put an isometric view right up here if I want. There we go. And so now I've got my multi-view drawing here. You notice a couple things about the sketch. It tells important information as my name, the date. I don't know why it says 12/3 because it's only the 2nd. Unless this is thinking I'm European or something. And then you could actually click and you can change some of this stuff. You can put notes in here and change the title, materials, things like that. But what we're going to do first is a couple of things. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to put a parts list down here. So if I go up here, there's a tab that says BOM table. And we filled out that bill of materials. We're going to put that down here in the bottom left corner. And you'll notice it now has each part. It's got the quantity of the parts, and then it has a description, so what the name of the part was there. So now, if I've got something that's 10 or 12 parts that I've assembled all together, I can see what part is what. Now, the other thing that's going to be handy with this is I can use these little balloons. They call them callouts here. We call them balloons on Inventor. And I can click on these parts and notice that it's now made number 4, which was my top of the car. It automatically knows that that's number 4. If I want to do my wheel, it automatically knows that the wheel is number 4. Now, I do not have to do all the wheels. I can get by with just doing one. And then I can even do this. And I can do the car body. Now, we can't really see the axles very well from that view. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up here to this view. And we're going to find our axles on this view. And if you've got something that's hard to see, if you want to show that both axles are there, you can do that. and it tells us, hey, that those are both part number 3. So like this will be handy if you've got a bunch of different bolts or screws. You could put each one in and say, hey, this is exactly what it is. But notice again, the computer knew part 1 was the car body, so it automatically made part 1 that. Part 2 is the wheels, and every wheel that I make a call out of, it will make it. Well, I clicked on the car body there. But every wheel that I click on, it would make it number 2. And you can do that, and we call those call outs or balloons. And you can change some of the wording and stuff here, but that's how the parts list works and the call outs. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to show that exploded view, and we're going to put the exploded view right here. Okay, and that'll show the people how everything fits together. So I'm going to click insert here. And now you notice where I see explode position, I can do explode 1. And now it's a little big. I made it a little big there. I can put my exploded view right there, and it shows everybody how it fits together. Now again, I didn't do this perfectly. There's some better ways to do exploded views and whatnot. But you could put your call outs on there as well. So if you wanted to put your call out to there, I could say, hey, there's an axle, or hey, there's a wheel, or hey, there's the body of the car, or do whatever it is that you want to do with your exploded view. But again, this is really handy when you've got lots of parts. The last thing I'm going to show you here on this video is, again, we talked about changing some of this stuff. If I want to change the title here, I can click on this, just double click. It's going to make a note, and I could just type in model car, and it's going to put a title in there called model car. We could do this, it's got the scale already. If I want to put the material in here and I want to say it's made out of, plastic, I could do that. And what this is helpful for, this tells me who made the part. I can just quickly see, hey, who made it. But if you were making this as an actual project, that puts all your pertinent information right there. The other thing over here, we were talking about tolerances right before Thanksgiving break. You can set tolerances here, and this is general tolerances. So I could put in here, I could put general tolerances, and they're already set up for me. I can do the same thing here. The other thing, obviously, we can dimension all of our parts. We've done that before. And you can dimension, it's usually nicer to dimension on this view, but you can dimension on the exploded view as well if you really wanted to. But we're not going to dimension it right now. The very last thing, I think I said last thing, but the very last thing, if you want, you could put notes in there. So if I wanted to say that, if I wanted to put a note right here, and I just want to say these axles are made of aluminum. I can do that. And tell myself that these axles are made out of aluminum, put all kinds of notes in here. So this is the drawing. This is how to make an exploded view. This is how to do the balloons or the call outs. This is how to make a parts list. So there's a lot of stuff on this video, but it's a very informative video. And then obviously it autosaves. The other thing you can do, you can insert images and stuff. I don't know why you need a reason for that, but you can. So with that, I'm gonna leave you. This is what we're doing today. I'm stopping here because a lot of people struggled even with just the car. So some people, if you didn't get the car finished, you can finish the car and then do this part today. what I want you to do is get to this part. You're going to have your multi-view here with your balloons. You're going to have an exploded view here with balloons. I want you to change these tolerances exactly as I put them here. Okay, everything's 0.05, 0.005, 0.0005. Parts list, and then change it to say model car, and then put this here. These axles are made of aluminum. I want you to do that. You don't have to turn it in or anything yet. Just hang on to it for right now, but that's our assignment for today. So hopefully I got everything in. I know it's only about 20 minutes, but like I said, I know some people were still having to finish up the car or having problems with the car. And I'm going to float around whoever is actually in class because of the blue and white days and help them out today.